Good evening, everyone, and welcome into this week's summer edition of the Milford Informer. I am your host, Tim Coet. As you can see, we have stepped outside of our studio for this latest summer edition of the Informer, taking an opportunity to enjoy some of the gorgeous summer weather as we now get into the month of July. And with this edition of the Milford Informer, a slightly abbreviated summer edition, as we do have the holiday week for the 4th of July. So we do still have a couple of news items to bring you this week, and we will continue to keep you updated as well on the status of this 2019 regular season for Milford Post 59. So let's get into all of the news items that we have coming up this week as we bring you tonight's top stories rundown. Tonight, we'll take a look back at the last March ceremony held for outgoing Police Chief Thomas OLaughlin, and we'll also hear a few parting words from the Chief himself. Also tonight, we'll take a look at a recent CPR training seminar held for staff and volunteers over at the Milford Youth Center. And later in sports, we'll have the latest update for Milford Legion Baseball, including highlights from 2 recent home games. For nearly 2 decades, Thomas OLaughlin presided over the Milford Police Department with integrity and compassion. That 18-year run as Milford's Chief of Police came to an end effective July 1st, but before Chief OLaughlin's final day on the job, he received a send-off worthy of 18 years of dedicated service to the Milford community.
I started as a police officer with the Housing Authority Police in Boston, so in February of 1978. From there, I moved on after several promotions, and I was appointed the police chief in the town of OLaughlin, where I served for 6 years. I then was appointed in the town of Wellesley as the chief of police, and I served there for 6 years. Left that department to go to the transit police in Boston. I served as the police chief there for 5 years, and in my 18th year here in Milford as the chief of police.
Tom, in his 17 years, led the department with leadership, vision, and compassion. He became part of the community. He recognized what the community needed. He made sure that the police department, the force that he had the tools, the resources, and the abilities to deal with the folks in our community fairly and with compassion.
It seems like I started yesterday. I love what I do for a living, and I'm very, very fortunate. My wife tells me I'm the luckiest person she knows because it's not work. I enjoy it. I enjoy helping people, and I've had that opportunity for many years. So I'm the fortunate one. I come from a perspective that if I can be helpful, I'm going to be helpful to them. There's not a person on the face of the earth that doesn't face circumstances in their lives at a given time. And if you can make a difference, that's rewarding. So I'll miss a lot of that, and then I'll miss the officers. I mean, I'm not going away. I live in the community, so I'm not going away. But I think the day-to-day interactions with the officers here, because I think they're second to none, and the support they receive from the community, likewise, it's there. It's always been there. So. I'll just miss a lot of those interactions, the personal interactions.
Tom called me up one night and said, "You know what, Michael?" And when people call me Michael, I think I'm in trouble. He said, anybody can take somebody out of a car and put handcuffs on them. But did you ever take the time to say, why'd you run the red light? Why'd you run the stop sign? Why are you driving so fast? Why are you angry? And when you ask those questions, out will come loss of a loved one. I'm driving to work. I think I'm going to lose my job. I had a fight with my 16-year-old son this morning, or I'm just having a bad day. And he said to me, remember one thing, Michael, When you walk by those cruisers, the fenders on those cruisers say protect and serve, not arrest. That's our chief. That's Tom OLaughlin.
The chief has always been a great guy. He's I've had great encounters with him. You know, he's just a normal guy. You see him out, you can talk to him. He's one of the nicest people I know, always helping the community, and he's done a great job for this town. And he's not one of those police officers where, you know, you can't talk to just as a friend. He's always there as a friend, and if you ever need him for anything, it's just a call away. I think his impact here has been a great one. He has brought the entire community together. I've never seen people so proud of, you know, the police department that we've had, and I believe even though he's resigning and he's moving on, he's still going to have a great impact, and everyone's going to greatly respect him and what he's done for this town.
I want to thank the community. I want to thank them for giving me the opportunity to serve them. I want to thank them for the support that they've shown me 18 years and the support that they've shown this agency. Rebuilding a relationship with a community is not an easy feat. So it took both sides of the equation, the officers as well as the residents of the community. And they did come together. They did assist us in becoming a better police department. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm the one that's blessed. I did something for 42 years that I enjoyed it every single day. You know, through the good times especially, and even when there were difficult times. So I'm blessed. So I walk away with my head high, and honest to God, I'm feeling good. I'm okay.
I have been lucky because I've performed services that I've enjoyed. I love it. The rewards to me in helping others made all the difference in my life. So I want to thank you, the Milford community. I love this town. I'm not going anywhere.
I live in Milford, you know, so myself and my wife, we still live here. 3 of my 4 kids live here in town. All 4 of them work in the town. So, I'm not vanishing. I'm going to be here. I'm a member of this community. So I look forward to, that next chapter. You know, it's, I've reaped the rewards personally, from serving this community. I'm blessed.
A few weeks ago, the Milford Youth Center held a special training seminar geared toward helping their staff members and volunteers receive necessary certification in CPR. We had an opportunity to bring our Milford TV cameras over to the Youth Center to check out this CPR training and also receive a few helpful hints.
After a shock, automatically start. Good. And if you need to switch positions, you can switch positions. I am a CPR instructor for the American Heart Association and a nationally registered emergency medical technician and retired Milford firefighter. Today we are training the staff of the Milford Youth Center for their summer camp program. So by law, they have to have people on staff trained in first aid and CPR, which is what I do, training for the American Heart Association. I've been doing it for a few years for the center now. So I'll come in and train one set of staff today, and next week we have another group coming in, and they'll be trained in the Heart Saver CPR for adult and child, as well as first aid. I think the only challenge for people when they're taking the course is to put it in real life situation, because most of them, it's nothing they've ever experienced before. So we go through the procedures, the training, the education of learning how to do it. It's when they have to do it for that first time that when all the training just kicks in. So not so much of a challenge as it is just an understanding that it can happen at any time, at any moment, to anybody. which is why we have a slogan for the American Heart Association, Life is Why, because you never know where and when in life it's going to happen.
Apply pads to patient's bare chest. Plug in pads connector next to flashing light.
First, to recognize that somebody needs your assistance, that somebody might need your help. Well, we want to see if they're unconscious or determine unresponsiveness. So it's very simple. Just grab them by the shoulder and say, hey, you all right? You okay? If they don't respond to that, yell for help. Second, to make sure the scene is safe before you approach anybody. So one thing we want to stress and always stress is that the rescuer is safe. For instance, a car crash in the middle of the road, until that scene is secure, it's not a safe area to go near. So we want to keep everybody away. We don't want any more victims than we already have, so scene safety is always primary. And you can't help somebody if you're injured. So scene safety. Second, we determine what assistance that person may need, whether it's first aid or if it's CPR. I'll teach the staff how to recognize that, how to recognize somebody that's not breathing, and then continue on with CPR if needed. Is that chest moving? No, start CPR. Start chest compressions. To keep it nice and steady and nice and smooth is important, it really is. Okay, let me see your hands for a second. This one here, I want you right there. Put the other one on top, go. That's it, good. Well, if you're from Milford, you can contact me. There's many CPR instructors around the area. Simple Google search will find you some local CPR instructors. People will call the fire station. Since I'm a retired Milford Fire, they will primarily contact me for anybody looking for courses. I do know Lenny has them from time to time up at the community use program at the high school. The American Heart Association has a website and can help them contact instructors, maybe from other towns or wherever they may be located. It's easy to find class.
Though the 2018-19 school year has now officially come to an end, we had an opportunity to bring Milford Superintendent Dr. Kevin McIntyre back into our studios for another edition of his Superintendent Updates. In this edition, Dr. McIntyre reflects on the 2018-19 school year and also informs Milford residents on a couple of new staff hires that will impact the years to come in the Milford school system.
Hello Hawk Nation and welcome to the Superintendent Update. This is Kevin McIntyre, Superintendent of the Milford Public Schools. Today I want to talk to you about the appointment of our new Stacy Middle School Principal, our new Mathematics Curriculum Director, and where the class of 2019 is going next year. It is my great pleasure to announce the appointment of Tahan Ross as the new Principal of Stacy Middle School. Mr. Ross served as an Assistant Principal for the Washington, D.C. Public Schools. He also worked as a Dean, English teacher, and English Department head in New York City, Atlanta, and D.C. Tahan Ross earned both a bachelor's degree and a master's degree from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. The bachelor's degree was in English literature, and the master's degree was focused on educational administration. He is a Springfield, Massachusetts native who is very excited to return to his home state. Tahan Ross has strong experiences in diverse environments and comes very highly recommended from administrators, central office personnel, and teachers from the Washington, D.C. Public Schools. He is a hands-on administrator who is focused on student success and growth. I want to thank the more than 60 parents, community members, teachers, and administrators who participated and provided feedback throughout the process. Mr. Ross will join the Milford Public Schools in July, and we will schedule opportunities for families in the community to meet him when he arrives. I am also excited to announce the appointment of our new Curriculum Director of Mathematics, Carrie Taylor. She earned her bachelor's degree from Boston College and a master's degree from Harvard University. She has served as a teacher and coach in Walpole, Lawrence, and Morristown, New Jersey. She continues to work with a research team at Harvard on a number of very interesting projects focused on mathematics. We look forward to her starting in July and working with educators across the district on mathematics practices and curriculum. Our class of 2019 Milford High School graduates are going to a number of impressive colleges and universities, including UMass Amherst, Clemson University, Boston College, the College of the Holy Cross, Northeastern University, RPI, the University of Maryland, and many others. The four-year schools that have the highest number of our graduates attending next year are Framingham State University, UMass Amherst, UMass Dartmouth, Bridgewater State University, UMass Lowell, Westfield State, and Worcester State. 6 of our graduates have enlisted in the military, and a number of our graduates will be entering postgraduate trade programs or going directly to work. Have an amazing summer, Hawk Nation, and thank you.
When last we left off with Milford Post 59, they were finally starting to gain some traction on their season after a couple of shaky losses out of the gates. Over the final months of June, Milford continued to build quite an impressive winning streak, a winning streak that included 2 separate doubleheader sweeps over the span of 3 days. Our most recent Milford TV coverage of Milford Post 59 included an intriguing matchup back on June 27th that featured 2 very strong rivals in Zone 4 as Milford hosted Northbridge Post 343. Let's take a look at some highlights from that game. On June 27th, Post 59 would take to the field at Pheno, looking to up their winning streak to 9 consecutive games. Standing in their way would be a Northbridge team that always seems to have a knack for playing Milford tough. In the bottom of the first inning, Milford would have a chance to jump on top early. Steven Simos continued his scorching hot start to his Legion career as he sent a bullet out to the left center field gap for a 1-out double. Sam Parker would then walk to place 2 on with only 1 out in the inning, but Northbridge starter Jacob Stasinski would induce a pop-out from Danny Johnson before striking out his counterpart Brendan Kelly to end the frame. Opportunity would knock again for Milford in the second inning. Stasinski would walk back-to-back hitters with 1 down, sending Lucas Basile to the plate, who, as usual, would look to use his speed and bat control to make an impact. And now sends one right back to the pitcher's mound. They will fire to third base, but the throw is wild. It goes all the way down into the left field corner. Chris Brunt will score. Here comes Beater around from second base. Basile flying all the way into third base where he slides in safely. And disastrous results on that throw from the pitcher as 2 runs score, and Milford able to take a 2-0 lead. Ben McKenzie would drive in an additional run in the inning with an RBI single to give Post 59 a 3-0 lead. Meanwhile, McKenzie's Hopkinton High School teammate Brendan Kelly would make his Legion debut on the mound in this game, and he would make quite the first impression on the Milford fans. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and that's in for a called strike 3. Here comes the 3-2 pitch, and it's swung on and missed for strike 3. So Kelly able to make the big pitch when he needs to. And he deflected. That came in to the first base dugout area in a hurry as this pitch comes in on the outside corner for a called strike 3. Yet another 3-ball, 2-strike count. The pitch, and it drops in for a called strike 3. That looked to be a breaking ball this time. Comes the next pitch, and that is on the inside corner for strike 3, a nasty pitch. It started in right at the right-handed batter and then cut back to the corner as Brendan Kelly strikes out the side in order in the second inning. Now 5 strikeouts for the righty. Kelly would continue to mow down the Northbridge bats, completing 5 scoreless innings and accumulating a total of 10 strikeouts. It would still be a 3-0 ball game into the bottom of the 5th, but the Milford bats were ready to enjoy their best rally of the night. Good to make contact. The runner does go as the pitch is driven in the air out to right field deep. Meach going back. That is well over his head and will roll all the way to the 432 mark in right center field. Simos will round the bases. Sam Parker digging for third base. They will stop him there as the throw finally gets back in on the infield. It is an RBI triple for Sam Parker. His second triple in as many days. This one was a no-doubter. A 1-ball, 2-strike count on Johnson, who's looking for his first hit tonight. Here's the pitch, and he chops it on the ground towards shortstop. That gets past the dive of Cerruti out into left field, and Parker will cross the plate with the 5th Milford run of the game. Now the kick and the pitch, and it's a hard shot again back up the middle, past the second base bag and out into center field. Here comes Danny Johnson racing around from second base as the ball gets away from Roberts in center, and that will allow the runners to advance. Milford would send 10 batters to the plate in the 5th inning, scoring 5 times to open up an 8-0 lead. That would be plenty of offense for the Post 59 pitching staff. After 5 terrific innings from Kelly, Nick Kazarian would take over, and after notching a strikeout as part of a scoreless 6th, Kazarian would retire the side in order in the 7th, striking out the final 2 batters of the game to finish off a dominant night of pitching for Post 59. Milford wins their 9th game in a row as they down Northbridge by a final of 8-0. We also had an opportunity to take in action from Milford Post 59 at Pheno Field on Monday, July 1st, as Post 59 hosted Sturbridge Post 109. It was the second meeting of the season between Milford and Sturbridge, and both games turned out to be tightly played pitchers' duels. Milford was able to edge out Sturbridge earlier on the season on the road in a game that lasted 9 innings, and Milford and Sturbridge would once again play extra innings in their second meeting of the season at Pheno Field. Milford started out the game from behind, but were able to take a 2-1 lead into the middle innings before Sturbridge battled back for 3 runs to take a 4-2 lead after the 5th inning. Milford was able to chip away, cutting it to a 4-3 Sturbridge lead heading into the 7th inning, and with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position, Danny Johnson was able to deliver a clutch hit, sending a ball into the deep left center field gap for an RBI triple that would tie the game and place the potential winning run at third base. Sadly, Milford was unable to drive that runner in from third, and once again these 2 rivals would play extra innings. And unfortunately for Post 59, the game would not go well in those extra frames. The defense would be very sloppy for Milford in the top of the 8th inning. That would allow Sturbridge to grab 2 runs to jump back on top, and Milford would end up going quickly and quietly in the bottom half of the 8th inning. And in the end, Post 59 would fall to Sturbridge by a final score of 6-4. That loss for Milford would snap a 10-game winning streak, sending Milford to 10-3 overall on the season. So still in good shape overall on the year, but Milford hoping to get back on track as they face a tough schedule to close out their 2019 regular season. And of course, once again, we have to remind you that regardless of what happens for Milford in the remainder of the regular season and in the zone playoffs, Milford will have a guaranteed spot in the 2019 state tournament, as it will once again be held at Pheno Field. That will take place later on this month, starting on July 27th. And you can be sure we will have plenty of coverage of those state tournament games right here on Milford TV. We'll continue to keep you covered on all of the action in the remainder of the regular season and the zone playoffs as well. So keep checking back in with us in our summer editions of the Milford Informer for further Milford Post 59 updates. But that's going to wrap things up here on this summer edition of the Milford Informer. Make sure you get out there and enjoy this beautiful summer weather. Have a happy and safe 4th of July, and we'll talk to you again a couple of weeks from now. From all of us here at Milford TV, this is Tim Coet saying have a great week. So long, everybody.